live. Welcome to Ashmont Realty Live. I'm your host, Adam Ashba of Hondros College and broker at Ashmont Realty. And we just finished up the 2024 National Association of Realtors Forecast Summit. Now, a lot of you might be like, what the hell's that? What's the Forecast Summit? But listen, if you're thinking about buying a house in 2024, or you're thinking about getting into real estate in 2024, or maybe you're thinking about getting out of real estate because everything's been so bad, we covered all of that in the Forecast Summit. We do it every year around December this time of year, and we're going to talk about all those stats. So before you do anything, watch it, and you can make an educated decision for next year. So we're going to talk about that and much, much more right after this. Well, good morning, everybody. We're on the heels of the holiday season, and we just finished up with the NAR forecast for 2024. So if you're a real estate agent, you better listen, and you should be following this stuff anyhow. But if you're thinking about getting into real estate and everyone's talking about how bad the real estate market is, listen up too. Not everything you hear on TikTok is true, okay? So we're going to go into it right now, right away. But again, this is the National Association Real Estate Forecast Summit. It's done every single year about this time. We just finished it up with all the details. I'm just going to go over some important facts for everybody. That way they can kind of take some of that information to decide, are you going to buy a house this upcoming year in 2024? Or maybe you're going to stay put, or, maybe you want to get into real estate, become a real estate agent. Now it would be a great time to do that on the winter time doing your schooling. So let's go ahead and jump into it. Again, this finished up actually yesterday. And the first slide I want to take everyone to is about home sales. Now, if you look at the far right of your graph, we are going to end up around 4 million homes sold this year. Okay, now put that in perspective. That's down. So if you look at the graph, we're down fairly significant from last year. Why? Because rates shot up so fast. People aren't ready to get out of their house to get a 7-8% interest rate, right? I mean, everything's kind of froze right now. But historically, look where that green line is. Historically, we sell, since the early 80s, about 4 million homes a year. So we're really at average. So everything's in perspective. That's the thing with rates started getting in those 7 and close to 8% range. Everyone was talking about how high the rates were. Of course, they're the highest it's been in 20 years. It's been kind of artificial reduction of interest rates. But historically, 52-year average interest rates are around low 7s. So we're right at average. So now we're going to talk about interest rates because I know that's a hot topic for everybody. So let's move to the next slide. I want to show you. That's going to be the next one. New homes, new home construction. Actually, new home construction is up. It's actually going to be probably the third or fourth best year since 2008. A lot of clients that we have at my brokerage are moving that direction. We've sold more new construction homes in a long time because you get a lot of better deals, as in our builders right now are paying for buy downs. And for anyone at home, they don't understand what that means is builders are giving you cash incentives to pay your lender to get a lower interest rate. I know builders right now you can get a 4.9 rate on your mortgage, which means you can build a $500,000 house for the same payment as a $350,000 pre-existing home. What would you rather do? You want a new home for less money each month than a used home? Well, most people gravitate towards the new home, obviously, right? So that was a interesting fact. Let's go fast forward a little bit to home appreciation. I love this one. I love this one. And this is going to be a quiz for all you real estate agents out there. If you bought a house in Ohio, now this is a breakdown for the nation, but if you bought a house in Ohio right before COVID, first quarter 2020, if you sold it in October, okay, 2 months ago now, your home on average would appreciate 46.2%. 46.2%. Okay, now here's the quiz question for all you realtors. So over the last 3 years, your house appreciated 30%, right? How much did an average home appreciate in the state of Ohio in 2023? Okay, so how much did homes appreciate over the last year in 2023? Because if they appreciated 46%, you're going to be mind boggled what homes appreciated over the last 2 years, in 2020 and 2021 and 2022. It's been a lot. It's been a lot. So I think now an average home appreciation historically is about 3%. So when you start breaking down those numbers, you'll be surprised. If you know the answer, put it down below. I only want Ohio. Home appreciation in the state of Ohio over 2023. We already have the data. It's out there. You can Google it if you need to. If you're a real estate agent, you better know that. You got to know that. I thought that was really interesting. Some of the other, some of the other areas, Salt or Boise is a bit of hot market. That's Idaho. Look at that, 60% in 3 years. That's crazy numbers. Utah has exploded. Florida obviously has been a hot market, but check that out. It's really interesting. Maine was almost 65% appreciation in the last 3 years in Maine. That's crazy. So, but I thought that was really interesting. But again, Ohio is kind of right in the mix, right? Or, compared to other parts of the country. All right, let's talk about interest rates. Oh my gosh, every meeting we have someone comes on. Don Dixon, thank you for doing this every other week. But we have a lender come on and talk about interest rates. It's been a hot topic. That's probably the number one reason why the housing market's been froze for the last 12 months, because rates shot up so fast. Now, right now, just put everything in perspective. It depends on the day. Literally, it depends on the day. You can have low 7s one day, and then it can creep up to almost 8. Over the last couple weeks, it's been over the high, close to 8. Then it went down a little bit about a week ago. Now, what they're projecting is they're forecasting for next year in 2024 that rates are going to start creeping down. The Fed's supposed to meet actually today, and they're projecting. I think everything's going to stay put today. The Fed meeting today, but they're going to start reduction of interest rates. Now this affects prime when the Fed meets, but they're going to reduce rates 4 to 6 times. Now the NAR says 4, but I've heard 4 to 6. Interest rates on properties will be going down to the low mid 6s. That's really good news, because what I kind of felt was, if we can get rates down in the 6s and it kind of holds there for a little bit, people are going to say, well, the 4s and 3% rates are gone. That's never going to happen again. Maybe. We hope not, unless there's a big issue, black swan event like COVIDers. But that this is the way it's going to be. 6% rates, not too bad. A lot of home buyers have experienced a 6% rate in their lifetime, and then they'll start getting off the bench. Realtors, they'll start getting off the bench and start deciding if they want to pull the trigger on selling their home, because a lot of people are sitting on a ton of equity. If you bought a home over the last 3 years, you're maybe up 40%. on your home, on your house. Okay, that's a lot of equity people are sitting on right now. So they can start cashing out that equity and start buying up. So if you're a real estate agent, start thinking about that. 2024 is going to be better. It's going to be a better year than what we had in 2023. If you survived in 2023, things are going to start looking up. Can it get worse? Of course it can. Look at the 80s. We showed 80. That was way under. I mean, they're selling 2.5 million homes in the 80s, where an average is 4. That's where we're at right now. We're basically at average. All right, let's move on to the next slide. Okay. We're gonna wrap up with a couple cool points. Ohio was brought up a couple times in this discussion, which is really interesting. And it's gonna be cities in Ohio that you wouldn't expect. Because I think a lot of people say, oh, Columbus, hot real estate market, Realtor top 5 hottest real estate market every year, right? It wasn't Columbus. There was 2 places that got mentioned as kind of the best bang for your buck, the most inventory for your buck. I don't know. I mean, they kind of presented it that way. 2 places. If you can look on this map, if you can squint in on your cell phone, number 3 has the most pent-up housing demand opportunity was our very own agents in Dayton, Ohio. It's Dayton and Kettering. Dayton, Ohio actually was the 3rd best city that had an upside of inventory and opportunity. Now, there was a spokesman that came on from Realtor.com, and the number 1 upside city, which means if you want to invest, you might want to think about this, but the number 1 in the country was Toledo, Ohio. So I think that was very interesting that these are cities that we didn't really think much about. But I can tell you, Dayton specifically, because we have agents there, the inventory has skyrocketed over the last 3 or 4 months. There was 2 months straight, late summer, early fall, that had 40% more listings than the year before, which that seems crazy because in Columbus, which is such a hot market, right? Columbus was only having, they were down 15%. So you're talking a 60% increase swing between Dayton, which is only an hour away. We go to Dayton all the time, so if you're looking for an opportunity for investment in Ohio, it's Toledo and Dayton, Ohio. No question. No question. So, but really very interesting stats. Just talks about top pent-up demand market was Dayton, Kettering. A lot of really good stats this year. I think the biggest takeaway on this year's summit was probably, interest rates. Everyone's speculating that the rates are going to start getting in the 6s, low mid 6s compared to 8%, guys. On a $300,000 or $400,000 house could be several $100s a month just in interest payments. So if you have someone that's kicking tires about maybe we'll buy in 2024 or not, let them know about this and then start prepping them, because what happens is those rates might dip in the low 6s, but you might catch lightning in a bottle and you might get it high 5s or 6.1 or something, and you got to have your clients ready for it because sometimes it can move fast, just like rates went up, shot up at about 1% last couple weeks, and then it backed down 1%. That's how it's working right now. So I hope that helps. You guys decide if you're going to buy or sell in 2024. Lots to think about. If you're thinking about getting into real estate, the winter time is always the best time. So if you look down in the comments below, we have a discount code. You get 30% off your tuition at Hondros College. If you put in our discount code, you can get started today, get your license, and be ready for spring. So this is Adam Ashba, broker at Ashmont Realty and instructor at Hondros College. Have a great holiday, everybody, and see everybody in 2024. Bye, everybody.